Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Mortgage CS. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to start your home buying process today. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. Happy F Around Friday to Dan Hilferty and all who celebrate. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your Director of Fun and Games for the afternoon. Joining me today is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor. Happy Friday to you, Chuck.
Happy Friday to you too, Bill. You certainly dressed the part.
You know, I typically don't wear shorts on the show, but I figured, you know what? It's Friday. We're going to do it. And it's, 100.
Well, and especially given the fact that I think this is going to be a particularly fun show. You fits the vibe. I might not have worn a black T-shirt if I would have realized how fun this show was going to be.
You people asked for the dumb list of the best names in the upcoming draft, and you're going to get it today.
Hell yeah.
Charlie just told me before the show he's almost finalized his top 50 list for the draft.
Sure have.
It's a sincere draft board, a big board, if you will. And it's funny because we were doing somewhat similar work to prepare for the show in the upcoming, week ahead. But Charlie's, of course, was real work, actually ranking the prospects. And I ranked how funny I find their names. So we have a top 15 coming up for you in today's show.
Yes.
But we are going to lead it off with some news and notes from around the league. And we'll see when we get to the list. It's F Around Friday. We're going to do what we always do.
Just going to F around.
Yeah. First thing I wanted to get to, we didn't yesterday, was the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. He's going to D.C., Chuck. I especially liked your comment on Twitter about it. Like, all right, I guess he could help them do what they did this year. They can be the 8th seed, basically.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, more than anything, LA, because the timing of the trade was very funny to me. The series gets extended to a 6th game, the final. Of course, if it goes 7, they won't. LA would not have been able to buy out Pierre-Luc Dubois at 1/3. It would have been the traditional 2/3,
right? Because the day he was
turns
born.
26, I think, the day of Game 7, and so the buyout window wouldn't open up until after he was 26.
So funny.
If it was a sweep, they could have just bought him out and it's fine.
Yeah.
But now they're like, oh shit. So they're able to trade him and move on from that what appears to be horrible contract.
I'm blown away. And the Kings bombed this trade. This is a terrible trade they did immediately. Not this trade, but the initial one to get Pierre-Luc Dubois. In retrospect, it looks terrible.
It really went poorly for them.
But I am shocked that they were able to get out of that contract.
No
shocked.
retention, just straight up 1-for-1.
And Kemper is not the guy.
Good.
He's older. That contract is not a good contract either. It's not as potentially franchise crippling as the Dubois contract. And I do give LA credit. I give Rob Blake and LA credit in that, yes, that initial trade when they got Pierre-Luc Dubois from Winnipeg, terrible trade. You fucked it up. You blew it. However, I respect that they accepted they screwed up quickly rather than being like, well, sunk costs, we gave up all that much. We got to figure out how to unlock him. Instead, it was 1 year in, nah, this ain't going to friggin' work.
Nah.
Let's cut bait while he still has at least some value. And I respect, because I'll always say that you're never going to have a GM who every single move they make is wrong.
You make mistakes.
They're going to make mistakes. But the really good GMs have the humility to realize that they did make a mistake and then address it rather than convince themselves that, no, that move was actually smart and it's all going to work out if I just give it one more year. No, I give LA credit for saying, nah, that was dumb. We need to erase this as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's going to make the initial trade probably look worse, but you know what would make that initial trade look even worse? If 5 years down the road, they're sending Pierre-Luc Dubois down to the AHL because he's barely a player.
We're putting him on waivers, and no one's going to grab him because $8.5 million for a 40-point player is a shit ton of money.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's I saw in the comments a couple of days. I see we have super chats already. We will get to them.
It's F Around Friday.
Yeah, we can do the whole show of super chats, honestly. But I saw in the comments a couple days ago when we were talking about Tulski. And someone was like, you can't have it both ways. You can't sit here and say Carolina is one of the best run organizations and then be like, oh man, they're going to just figure out a way to get out of this Kotkaniemi contract because it was a mistake. It's like, maybe it was, clearly.
Looks like it might have been.
If they figure a way out of it, though, that's acknowledging, like, no one bats 1,000.
Yeah.
It seriously can go real wrong. Like, I mean, I always look back to the Paul Holmgren tenure, and it's like the first half, man, he killed it. And then it went real wrong.
Well,
and then they refused to acknowledge the mistakes. They kept going, all right, yeah, Luke Shen, yeah, Nick Grossman, yeah, like, until it just became Andrew McDonald. Like, and it just became problem after problem to solve an initial thing that couldn't be solved. Well, like we lost Chris Pronger.
Exactly.
There ain't no replacing him. He's one of the best ever. Like, and the failure to recognize where you are as an organization, like the Kings, did this make them better? No. But they had a problem. Yeah. And they have two problems. One, they're in a division with Connor McDavid. They keep running into him in the playoffs, and that goes poorly for them. And two, they're paying this dude who might not like hockey all that much a shit ton of money. We can fix one of these problems. Yeah. We cannot fix Connor McDavid. We can fix paying this dude $8.5 million. They did.
Well, I think two perfect examples of what happens when you make a mistake and then you double down on that mistake because you've decided that, well, it was a smart move, and it doesn't matter what everyone has seen. It was still a smart move. You mentioned Andrew McDonald. He's one. You trade for Andrew McDonald on an expiring contract because you want to beef up the defense, and you think this guy is not a first-pair defenseman, but he's a 2-3 in a lower role. He'll do better. His underlying numbers in that initial burst with the Flyers were just as trash as they were in the major role with the Islanders. So what does Paul Holmgren do? He gives him a 6-year, $30 million contract. You're doubling down on what was already a mistake rather than realizing after watching him, there's no way this guy is worth that much money. Let's just accept that we probably overpaid for a rental and it didn't work out. Whatever. Fine. Another example, Rasmus Ristolainen. The initial trade, look, most of us knew that was a bad trade from the start. However, if you are Chuck Fletcher, and you trade that much away for one Rasmus Ristolainen, then you spend the entire first season of him with the team. You have a chance to see him, and you have a chance to see that he's not what you thought you bought because he's not that good. No. And then you sign him to the contract anyway. Like, at some point, you have to accurately evaluate what you're seeing rather than convincing yourself that what you want to see is what's actually happening.
I just actually had this thought. If they can trade Risto this offseason, dope.
Yeah.
Like, cool. That would be stupendous.
And he's been better since Torts took over. He's been better than I expected him to be. However, he's still not worth the contract they gave him.
Absolutely not. Not even close. But a team just took on the PLD contract. Everyone needs big right-handed defensemen.
It's true.
We have seen Rasmus Ristolainen in his time with Buffalo put up offensive numbers mostly by playing on the power play.
Yeah, with Jack Eichel helps.
The Flyers have a trash power play no matter what. Put him up top, and let's see if we can boost those numbers a little bit, see if he's a little bit more palatable to a trade partner. Why not? What's the power play going to get? Worse?
I don't know if he'd score on it. Like, I don't know if it's going to
score sometimes.
Would he?
Igor Zamula
Did you watch the Flyers power play this past year? They never score.
Igor Zamula had like 2 weeks where he looked good. What if that's the first 2 weeks of the season? You know, what if he just has that the first couple of weeks?
I think you're overrating the ability of the Flyers power play to inflate anyone's numbers at all.
Forster's a little better. Tippett's a little better. Morgan Frost is there from the day one, and he distributes. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out a way out of this thing, Charlie. Other teams are figuring out a way out about bad contracts. We have a bunch, and that's something, I guess, Provorov, but that wasn't so much a bad contract as it just was like, we can't keep this guy.
Yeah,
the team doesn't like
a toxic situation.
The team doesn't like the dude who plays 25 minutes a night. We have to trade him.
All right, let's do the super chats real quick, because these are both quick super chats.
Okay.
We got one from Gary B. Happy Friday, everybody. I may have jumped the gun, but I bought a Mitchkov jersey. Yeah, Gary. Good job, Gary. Hope he keeps the number 39 when he comes over. I think there's a good chance he does.
I always think
it's a unique number that he can make his own.
Even if he doesn't, I don't love it, but it is kind of unique. I always think, like, if you have that and then he changes it, like, that means you're in on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a 34 Cliff Lee jersey, that's sick.
That's true.
Like, I got the Gossespierre jersey right away, and everyone was like, yo, he's not keeping 53. And then to his credit, he heard how many people bought his jersey, and he was like, I don't know, I had a pretty good year. I guess I'm keeping it.
One thing like that too, and I would see this not as so much anymore because obviously he's not on the team anymore, but during the height of the Claude Drury era, once in a while you would see someone with a number 56.
Was it? Yeah.
And you'd be like, you know what?
What was that from his 2-game call up?
Yep.
Oh my God,
that's cool. I respect it.
He almost scored in that shootout. That would have been something.
Okay, now we got one. This is just a reference to the PLD discussion from Steve. Funny thing I saw yesterday: Caps bought cap friendly so that no one would make fun of them for the PLD contract.
I think that was Ryan
Gilbert.
I think that was RG3.
Ryan Gilbert.
Yeah,
friend of the pod, Ryan Gilbert.
Gilbert commented on me advertising the big list of names, and I think he's going to be disappointed that someone didn't make it. But yeah, there's only so many. I just went through the whole draft guide like 3 times to pick out the best possible names, and not everyone's going to make it. But RG3 is. I wish I was as funny as him on Twitter. Like I don't know how to be funny on Twitter. It's just something that eludes me. Ryan's tremendous at it. All right, and we have this last one here from Adam S. I feel like Toronto is ripe to get fleeced for Mitch Marner. The Flyers should do it somehow.
Adam, keep living in that world, bud.
It's just like I don't see a world where it makes sense to have TK and Mitch Marner on the same team. I would love, like, if you could somehow make that happen, sure. When I heard that they realized they, like Nazem Kadri, they were fucking mad at him, so they maybe got rid of him when they shouldn't have. And they don't want to make the same mistake with Mitch Marner, especially like in a year Tavares' contract is up.
I'm unconvinced they're actually going to trade Mitch Marner.
I'm not positive they are now.
I get the sense that this may have been like the couple weeks after the Leafs lost was like the bender, where like everybody just got hammered.
This was it.
We're gonna blow it all up. Everybody's like shit-faced drunk, saying they're gonna do all these crazy things, and then like after the week-long hangover, it was like, you know, he's a really good player. Maybe we shouldn't like just trade him away for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, especially now when everyone knows we're mad at him. Like, oh yeah, let's do it now.
Yeah. Like all the leaks came out because everybody in the Toronto front office and organization, understandably, was pissed.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, we got to make changes. This group just can't get it done. And now they're like thinking more logically and realizing like, you know, we probably should just keep this dude.
Yeah, it's like, if we can do a 1-for-1 that makes sense, sure.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Mitch Marner's better than most guys in the league.
He's real good at hockey.
Finding someone that another team is willing to part with that is equal to Mitch Marner, like that could be difficult.
Could be tough. You're probably losing a Mitch Marner trade.
I have heard that trades are hard.
Trades are quite difficult, though. All right. We do have one more quick one from Dylan.
Okay.
Another just fun one. Happy fucking Friday. PHLY sightings in Seattle City this weekend. I am not going to Seattle City this weekend.
I will not be down this weekend. We have a nice little schedule coming up for us 4th of July week where we're off the 4th. Me and you were going to be remote the 5th, and I'm going to be down that whole week.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be coming back and forth.
I will be covering development camp that week.
There you go.
But
Charlie, working hard.
No, well, I mean, once you get past like the midpoint of July, that's when I'll be doing some more shore visits. But I do have 2 concerts this weekend. So
who are you seeing?
Tonight, seeing a band called Future Islands, and then on Saturday, going to see Something Corporate.
Oh, that's excellent.
They're like doing a reunion tour.
I saw that definitely showed up in my bands in town.
Yeah.
You might want to go check out. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's do this last thing before we get to some reads and then the big board. This Rangers thing, how they got around the Barclay Goodrow no trade clause, Charlie. I really respect it.
I find it's funny. I can understand why Goodrow's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently the San Jose was on his no trade.
Yeah.
And it was such an end around.
So if you didn't say, Chris Drury puts Barclay Goodrow on waivers so that the last place team can then claim him rather than trade him. You know, we're not going to be able to work out a trade. San Jose just needs to take on salary. They have like 30. They're like,
and he's a former Shark.
They're like 20 mil under the fucking under the floor.
They view him as like a guy who can help them in their rebuild.
Yeah.
They view him as a character guy. However, I'm not sure how character he's going to be going to a place he doesn't want to go to.
Hating being there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's been there. I'm sure he has roots there.
Yeah.
But also he probably just feels betrayed by the Rangers, which is fair.
He just played in the Final Four, and now he's going to the last place team. Like, that stinks.
It was like, you know what? What I will say about that, it was a creative move. And was it a dick move by Drury? Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes you have to be a little ruthless.
Sorry. Obviously, he can't talk about other teams and stuff, but it's a division GM. It's his old teammate. I would love to know what Danny Briere thinks about this move.
Yeah.
I always think of those two as like a pair, because going back to that summer, it was like the Flyers are getting one and they chose right.
Yeah.
I would love to know, because when I see something like this, I'm like, that's kind of dickish. And I wonder if that hurts you. Like, it's the Rangers. Like, they have two guys. Like, their rebuild ended because two star players were like, we're only going there. You know, so maybe it doesn't hurt them because they're the Rangers.
Because it's New York.
Yeah, like it's New York.
Yeah.
They actually play in New York, not the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
Like it
might be a
real
train
New York,
station, but it is actually New York.
Yeah, like it's actually New York. But would that hurt a team's perception? Like, would that hurt them? But also, I look at this and go, I would love for Danny to do something like that, because it's what Vegas would do.
Yeah.
Vegas is ruthless with their players, with their coaches, their general managers. They're fucking ruthless, man. Like, they go to a Stanley Cup, their first year, and the whole the coach and GM are gone by like year 3. Like, I think that's what they would do. So I always look at that framing. Like, you do need to be a little ruthless, but there needs to be a balancing act. Like, you really need to take care of your people if you're going to treat others that way.
And I think there's an element to one of the reasons why the Rangers can, and I think will ultimately get away with this without too much blowback, is other like players and other GMs are going to look at it and be like, was it kind of a dick move? Yeah. But like, also the Rangers are gunning for a cup. Like, they need to make tough decisions because they're on the cusp. And you know what? As good as Goodrow was from a scoring standpoint in the playoffs, he is not a very good player anymore. Even in the playoffs, while he was racking up the goals, his underlying numbers of 5-5 were pretty ghastly, and they were pretty bad all year. Like, he's not been good recently, aside from that scoring surge in the playoffs. This was the right move for the team to find a way out of that contract, because they're going to need to spend real big on Shesterkin soon. And they've got other guys that they need to sign back. You know, I think Lafreniere is going to need a raise at some point in the near future. They want to go out and they probably want to get more guys, because guess what? They weren't good enough this year.
Yeah.
They were real good, but they weren't good enough. So you want to go out and get better players. One way to do that is to remove guys who aren't that good, and I don't think Goodrow really is anymore. So I think people from the outside are going to look at it kind of the way we are, where it's like, yeah, kind of a dick move, pretty ruthless, but also like when you're in that position where you're that close, you got to make moves like that if you want to get over the top, in comparison to, say, like the Flyers right now.
Yes.
Like, there's no benefit for Danny Briere being a dick right now.
No.
Like, why?
No. And I wonder, like, what is, like, they would not do this to Cam Atkinson.
No, they would not.
Like, that's the...
Exactly.
And there's no need to, because, like, they're not trying to contend.
Yeah.
Because that was the rumor. San Jose interested in Atkinson.
They were clearly looking... San Jose was clearly looking for, like, a veteran good guy to put in that room.
And if he's overpaid, we don't care, because we have to get to the cap floor.
Right.
Like, this is one of those Utah situations, you know, Coyotes situations where it's like, we need to spend money on something.
It would not shock me if Goodrow was kind of the backup plan when the Atkinson thing fell through.
It seems as if those two things are somewhat related. It's funny you mentioned dick moves, Charlie, because...
Are we going to the names?
Yes. No. This is it's Manscaped.
Oh, it's
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to announce that Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bum. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use code FLYERS. That's manscaped.com, code FLYERS. Summertime and the trimming's easy. Listen, we all want to look our best, even if we're headed to no shower happy hour. There's no reason not to be trimmed and smelling great, and Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to ensure your summer of love isn't a bloody disaster. Inside this package, you'll find The star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This is their 5th generation trimmer featuring 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one, I'm just taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. We also have dual LED spotlights to provide contrast on multiple skin tones, 3 length setting combs, and oh, did I mention, this trimmer's waterproof too. Beach, lake, shower, this razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Now that you have the perfect haircut, use Manscaped's liquid formulations to keep that freshness even at the hottest summer barbecues. The Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and Crop Preserver Anti-Chafe Ball Deodorant. Once they touch your skin, you'll never go back. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 5.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code FLYERS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code FLYERS at manscaped.com. It's smooth sack summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Okay, Bill, I got to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious if this is actually part of the read or if this was you riffing. Was the summertime and the trim is easy? Is that part of the read? That's in the read.
That's
props to them. I didn't know if you were purposely referencing Sublime or if that's actually in the read.
That's all that. Very little of that was me. Honestly, I toned it down a little bit for our readers, for our listeners, because we have the people complaining about the language you use, and I got to say pubes 3 times. Jesus, is this a new super chat? Before
Adam wants to talk a little bit more about Marner. Marner has the most points as a Leaf in the playoffs currently on their team, and their fans and media still hate him and think it's his fault. Look, I mean, they're just mad, and I get it. Like, they've had a really good team for close to a decade, and they just can't get it done in the playoffs, and they're just looking for people to yell at, and Marner gives them an opportunity to do so. It's basically what Sixers fans are going through.
Sure. And it's like, well, no one can possibly blame the guy who scored 69 goals. Right. Nice. Like, you wait on Tavares, and it's like his contract's up in a year. Yeah. Either tell him you need to take a massive pay cut or you're gone, bud. Yeah. And you probably need a goalie, but let's blame the high-paid guys. It's the same thing we went through here with Giroux. And Giroux needed to be better in a lot of the playoffs. But it's like those teams weren't good. This team is good, but it's based solely on those dudes. And then you get to the playoffs and everyone's good. Yeah. I don't know, have a better third line.
I'm not saying Marner's a perfect player, but he's clearly a very good player. Yeah. There's a reason why all the other teams' fans are like, let's get Mitch Marner.
Yeah, can we get him?
Can we get Marner?
You're going to have to pay him in a year like $13 million. Yeah, all right, fine. It is very funny, though, when you look at the playoff numbers. It's like, he's all right. Yeah, he's not dying here. Yeah. But it's always when does he score on that whole thing?
And he had that one game where he kind of sleptwalked through the first 2 periods. And then you had Nylander yelling at him on the bench. It was just that sort of thing sticks in your head as a fan.
They look at him as allergic to contact perimeter player, and nobody thinks that guy can win in the playoffs. Right. So you want to move on from him. Right. And honestly, fine. I don't care. It's the Maple Leafs. Good. All right, it is now time for the big board of names. This is I ranked 15 players. This is how I did. Went through the Elite Prospects Draft Guide and just picked out the names that stood out to me for one reason or a number, and ranked them 1 to 15. So let's get started. On the board at number 15, Elite Prospects, 121st ranked prospect. He's a 5'7" forward from Anchorage, Alaska. It's Mac Swanson. And I just love this because it sounds like a hardened detective. Mac Swanson is on the case. I could just see him ripping cigs, drinking straight from the Jameson bottle, and just can't quite get over this one crime he could never solve.
See, you know what my first thought when I see that is? I look at it and I'm like, this looks to me like a setup for And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where Mac decides he wants to pretend to be a hardened detective. Maybe he changes his last name because he wants to lean into the bit.
Maybe that's what I was picturing. Honestly, if you say Mac, there's a good chance we're all just thinking about Always Sunny. But yeah, Mac Swanson just made me laugh because I could just picture just a by the numbers cop show. Okay. That was it. So
I have not read up on Max Swanson. I may have to do that.
He's ranked at 121.
Yeah, I haven't watched any tape on him, But I agree. Solid name.
And he's from Alaska. That's fun.
Yeah, straight out of True Detective.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 14, number 105 on the Central Scouting North American Skaters list, right-handed center from the Q. He's got a twin brother, ETN, Vincent Desjardins, and the reason he was included on this list, not related to Eric, just happens to have the same last name.
It's not a like...
No, it's like Smith up there.
It's not a rare name up there. It really is.
I love the relation thing on Elite Prospects, and it just leads you to like, oh, he's like twin brother. I was like, what about dad? I remember didn't Eric, he like had his shoulder surgery and then like fucked it up in the playoffs having a catch with his kid.
Did he really?
And
I don't remember this.
I'm trying to think about how old that kid was. I'm like, no, he's probably like my age.
Yeah, probably.
Like, there's no way. And so, Vincent Desjardins comes in at number 14. Coming in at 13, this is just a fun one. Keats Fawcett.
All right, I wasn't totally on board with Vincent Desjardins. Keats Fawcett. That is a great
This
hockey
is a great
name.
one.
Great
because,
hockey name.
He also has a cousin, Tolson Fawcett.
Tolson Fawcett.
And this just
Did he
has...
play in the is this WHL name?
Yes.
Yes.
This has all of the makings of a... listen, I don't know if these guys are even ranked. They're just like on the prospect list, and it's like after the first 140 or whatever on Elite Prospects.
This name just screamed WHL.
If the NHL doesn't work out for these guys, they have the makings of a tremendous bathroom remodeling show. The Fawcett cousins. Come on, man. Like, this is just really, really good stuff here. I mean, Keats Fawcett. That's tremendous.
It actually rolls off the tongue quite well, too.
Keats Fawcett.
Yeah, like, if he becomes an NHL player, oh, man, I want him on my team. I know nothing about his talent, but that name, A+.
I love it. And I like that it's spelled that, like, Fawcett that way, so it's more like the way you would say it.
Was the same way that Farrah Fawcett spelled it, right?
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're related. All right, number 12. This one I just found funny. Central Scouting's 104th ranked North American skater. Flyers just have to get this guy because his name is a combination of two Philly Colt heroes. Reese Peterson. We got Reese Hoskins. We got Doug Peterson. We put them together, and we have a guy who's going to come out of nowhere and maybe do something for us.
Maybe.
I don't have a problem with this. If they were to end up with the 146th ranked North American skater, why not have a dude with the perfect name for this city?
It does very much give off like a Philly video game automatic create a player option.
Absolutely.
Like, because that would always be the best is when like you get into year 30 of your NHL dynasty on EA Sports and they start combining, then you're suddenly drafting like I don't know, Mario Gretzky.
Yes, exactly. No, just Reese Peter. It just really made me laugh. Just perfect.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, listen, man, we're talking about playing in that summer sun. Maybe afterwards, you need to chill. It's hard. I know. I mean, we're making fun of people's names here today. It is all in good fun, and I hope everyone on this list is able to take it for what it is and just chill. And when they choose to make that decision, there's no better way to celebrate chilling than with an ice-cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out about me making fun of your name, where you're going to get drafted, whatever it might be, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, sometimes you just got to chill. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, we left off at Reese Peterson. Tremendous. Now,
Philly creative player.
This one at number 11, I would love if I would just be great if the Flyers were somehow able to draft this player.
He's one of my top guys on my board.
But there is some consternation about the exact pronunciation of his name. I saw someone asked you about it on Twitter the other day because you say Booyam.
That is the way all of the college announcers pronounce it, is Booyam.
On the Elite Prospects pronunciation guide, it's Zeev Booyam. And honestly, I just can't stop chanting it like Zeev Booyam, Zeev Booyam. I have no idea why, but he should probably be higher on this list just because it's a unique name.
Yeah, so I think this name, number one, I believe the reason why there are like just discrepancies in terms of the way you pronounce the name. I think this is like a very Hebrew name. I believe he's Jewish, and I think it just kind of comes down to like how traditional you want to pronounce it. And my guess is that he probably, because this has been the case with a lot of players, where like Provorov, the way you're supposed to say his name is Provorov, but when
he's been here since he was 16.
Well, when he showed up, we asked him, and he's like,
I don't
okay, like just call me Provorov because that's what everybody calls me anyway. Yeah. So like, let's just do it that way.
And he speaks better English than I do.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
not like this Russian dude.
So
like,
I would not be at all surprised if Buyum straight up told like his teammates and the commentators, like, just say like this is easier for everybody. Second, like, this is just a cool name.
Oh, it's badass.
This is a really cool freaking name.
No, it's just a really great one. And I pronounce it Buyum. Well, that's how I started until you said Buyum. If that's how they're pronouncing it on broadcasts, I assume the broadcasters
that's my
asked
guess.
him.
Yeah.
Like, I just think every vowel needs a syllable.
Mm-hmm.
So Buyum would make sense. But either way, I mean, Zeev is badass.
It's a really cool name.
And like on top of that, really fucking good player.
Yeah, he's in my top 5.
Maybe pave the way for David Carl to become our coach in a couple of years.
Hey,
have his guy.
We're playing the long game here.
Let's get his brother too. It'll be great. Now we get into the top 10 with number 10. I don't know. This might be a little low for him. Swedish defenseman, number 217 on McKean's list, Eric Berger. Now, it might be Burger.
So this is
the G
it's
would
the same
be
thing we ran into with Ginning.
Yeah,
where the like G sound in Swedish is not really a thing. It's really yinning. So it's probably like Burger, probably in like like I'm probably screwing that up, but in general terms. However, like come on.
Also, it's Eric with a C and not a K. So guess what, guy? You get drafted to Philly, you're going to be Berger. Yeah. That's just the way it's going to be.
It's great.
And I find the dude's name is Berger, and there's someone coming up on this list who might end up as the perfect teammate for Berger. Like we're going to have some condiments coming up soon. One of them would probably go well, but Eric Berger starts off the top 10.
I do love so this is not someone like Berger. I do not, or Burrier. However, I haven't done any research on this guy. I'm not familiar with him. But your explanation of him being a heavy shot mobile D-man, like, yeah, that fits the name.
No, that's the like for marketing purposes.
Fits the name.
I want to see him like on a shirt shooting, but the puck is a burger.
It's a burger, yes.
Like, come on now.
It'd be so good.
Come on. Like this guy, you got to be rooting
just
for him.
serving up those good burgers.
Yeah, just serving up good burgers, man. Eric Goodburger. Like there's just so much that can be done here.
Yeah.
He gets drafted.
It would be great for us.
Yes.
From a t-shirt standpoint, fantastic.
Yeah, because that's we're trying to move merch over here more than anything. And who doesn't love just the dots over the U? That's cool looking for any name.
True.
And it happens to be Burger. All right, now we move on to number 9. This one is another, I love it for Philly purposes. We have a big hitting defensive stalwart who, BU commit, who scored over a point a game in the USHL and the development program.
I was reading up on this guy last night.
Camille Bednarik, number 81 on Elite Prospects. When I hear
it's a cool name.
Defensive stalwart, big hitter.
He's a center. He's not a defenseman.
He's not? Where did I read defense? Oh, yes. He just plays great defense.
No, he's like a shutdown center.
Shutdown center. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. Anyway, defensive stalwart who put up over a point a game in the USHL. Seems to me like he's a two-way player, like another Bednarik in this town.
Hey,
we got Concrete Camille right here.
Ooh,
we have to get this dude.
I like that.
Come on now, Concrete Charlie, Concrete Camille. I think it works perfectly. I couldn't find if they are somewhere related down the line.
I cannot imagine.
But he's like 140.
It would not shock me. Like this, Bednarik is the first guy I think on this list, and I guess like it's possible some of these like guys that are in the hundreds, maybe, because I don't know. But like Bednarik's a guy where like I could plausibly see the Flyers taking him in like the 3rd or 4th round because he's a center. Danny straight up said yesterday openly, we need centers. And while I think the most likely scenario for Bednarik is that he's probably a 4C, there are some scouts that think higher of his upside, that think there's more offense there. And maybe he's a guy you could nab in the 3rd or 4th round and think, hey, maybe he could be a middle 6 center for us 4 or 5 years down the road. I'm not saying that like I think they're definitely targeting him. I'm just saying that he fits things they tend to like, and he does fit the big organizational need they have going into the draft, and he's not somebody they're going to have to spend a 1st or even necessarily a 2nd round pick to get. But badass name.
And we did like Danny did also say yesterday that later in the draft, 3rd round maybe, is where it's like, okay, we need to focus on organizational need more so than talent.
Yeah.
Where
and Ben Eric might be there,
and that it could work out. And we know they love their two-way forwards.
Sure do.
They love those
Brings
guys.
the physicality. They love that too.
I would love if they were to end up with Concrete Camille. That would be tremendous. Coming in at number 8. I'm just happy that this guy was like able to tear himself away from the yacht long enough to get really good at hockey. Parker Von Richter.
Parker Von Richter.
No relation to Mike Richter, Elite Prospects number 129 prospect. He's a 6'1" right-handed defenseman. And this one made me laugh because a couple of years ahead of me, I have this friend, Nick, who at graduation, he thought he played this hilarious prank on everybody. For his name, he put Nicholas Von Kasarwich. His middle name is not Von. His name is just Nick Kasarwich. And he just put that right in the middle, and everyone laughed. He thought he had the prank of graduation. And then my other friend had a plane with a banner that said, "Here's to the memories, keep circling over," and no one could hear over it, and that was very funny. But I always, whenever I see Von, I think Nick Von Kasarwich. Parker Von Richter, though, that's like the heir of a fucking like country club.
Yes. My first instinct seeing this name is this is a random side character in a CW drama, because
good.
The writers are trying to think like, what is the most stereotypical douchebag rich guy name we can think of? And they stumble upon Parker Von Richter.
Parker Von Richter is one of the douchiest, and I have no idea if this guy's a good guy or not.
Very nice
I'm sure
boy.
He's a fine young man.
But the name.
Also, he's a draft-eligible NHL prospect, so he could be an asshole.
True, it's possible.
I would be if I was him. But Parker Von Richter, I mean, that's just funny stuff. All right, so now we get to where we're number 7. You know, we go from Parker Von Richter.
This is low-key a great name.
To maybe the funniest name on the list. Just really underrated. 2 first names, Colin Ralph.
Colin
Ralph.
It's fantastic.
If my last name was Ralph, I would go out of my way to like name my kids something a little more intricate than Colin. Like maybe they have a very funny middle name, but Colin Ralph with the 2 first names.
Ralph is just a funny name.
That's a funny name.
Like it's funny if it's the first name. It's funny if it's the last name. It's just a funny name.
Whenever I make up a name for a random character, I'm like, oh yeah, fucking Ralph over here. Like I just find it funny. Colin Ralph, last name, 2 firsts. He's a 6'4", 209-pound defenseman, number 70 on Elite
he's
Prospects.
a Minnesota prep
and he's
kid.
a Minnesota prep kid.
Brent Flair might have his eye on him.
You never know. They love their high school kids. But Colin Ralph comes in at number 7. And then we get to one of my favorites on this list, 6'2" Swedish defenseman, Elite Prospects, number 117, Viggo the Carpathian Gustafsson. I mean, come on now. You got to give me my Ghostbusters references here, Danny. Get me Viggo the Carpathian. That's just, you don't meet too many Viggos out there.
This dude, I mean, and I have no idea what he looks like. But if this guy does not grow out a massive mountain man Swedish beard, like you are missing out. Like he seems like it's the name of someone who is just going to like storm in and like, you know, and in like, we're talking like Viking style warfare shit. Like he needs to grow out a massive mountain man beard and just lean into it.
Maybe even funnier than this, there is a draft eligible goalie in 2025, exact same name, Viggo Gustafsson.
You know what the Viggo Gustafsson name really makes me think of? And I know that you watch these at least occasionally because they were always on ESPN when we were kids. This seems like a name of someone who would be in the Metrics World's Strongest Man competition.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is a fucking World's Strongest Man type
this
name.
Dude, Viggo Gustafsson, if
he's flipping tires.
If you can't win a keg toss, you have not lived up to your name. And we are like, Gustafsson, come on. We have a very, very special relationship with that last name. The one who got away. And then a dude with the exact same name who probably should have played a little more. But, you know, why have a guy who can score when you can have worse players on the ice?
I'm
get that Gus Bus going.
I'm envisioning
for
Vigo lifting up trucks and flipping tires.
Yes.
Like that is what he is destined to do. And he's a big Swedish guy, so he very well could do that because Swedish people tend to be, fairly strong.
Yeah, they typically are.
Typically.
If you want to make strong financial decisions, I don't know. We're talking about TrueMark Financial now. Because when you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become part owner, which means profits come back to you instead of going to shareholders. You can get better rates, lower fees, better return on savings, more flexible options, plus all the same digital tools and tech you've come to expect from your big banking partners. I've told you all this about TrueMark, but the thing that maybe hits home, it's that they are home. TrueMark has local roots. They're headquartered in Fort Washington with 24 branches in the Philadelphia area. That means they serve our community and our people right here at home. And becoming a member of a credit union like TrueMark has so many benefits over just being a customer at a bank. Seems like a total no-brainer. So head to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's TRUMARK.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. All right, now we get Vigo the Carpathian. It's going to be tough.
It's really good.
It's going to be tough to top that one. But I think, the thing about the top 5 here is we have a lot of dudes who could go in the top 5, 10 of the actual draft. The top of this draft is very great name heavy.
Oh, yeah. And we left out, because after we get done the list, I want to talk through some of the guys who I don't know if I necessarily would put on the list, but I also think are legitimately good names. I'm mildly surprised this guy is this high. I think it's a great, great hockey name. It's on the same level as like Booyam, where it's not funny. It's just a great freaking hockey name.
Number 5, Consta Hellenius.
It's a great name.
This is either an artsy metal singer, like he's got the all black metal look, but like he writes the best poetry you've ever heard.
It's like a post-punk guy.
Yeah. Or he's the a Count of Transylvania in the 1800s. Like that's what I hear when like he gets announced when he enters rooms. So there's a trumpet. Yeah. Someone announces Consta Hellenius. Also, if the Flyers take him at 12, they could do a lot worse.
Yeah, he's a solid pick. I mean, I wouldn't be angry
He's not
about
your
it.
guy.
Not my guy, but I like him.
He might be the best available at that time.
Could be. Very, very good hockey name. It falls into the same category as Booyam, where it's like,
just a cool name.
That's a great freaking name.
Hellenius is just fun to say.
It is.
Like when I heard you, I was like, that's probably how it's pronounced. And then when we actually started talking about prospects and you said it that way, I was like, oh, good. That is how you say it.
Yep.
Awesome. Number 4. Luchenko is a Jet. We got Jet Luchenko coming in at number 4. This one, it's a great name. 2, the fact that he lives up to it.
Yeah, the fact that the skating is his best trait.
Like his top trait is speed.
Yes.
If your parents name you Jet, like you just have to do it.
You better be fast.
You have to be doing the was it Jerry Rice who would run sprints with a parachute on his back, like to work on his speed. Like that's how
he caught bricks.
Like,
Jerry Rice was nuts.
Yeah, but you just have to be working on your speed more than anything else. Jet Luchenko, number 4. That's where do you see him falling in the draft?
I think I have him on my board. I have him somewhere in like the 17, 18, 19 range. I think he probably goes before 20.
Okay.
But after
that little middle range before 20 where it's like the Flyers might think it's the same, but everyone else thinks there's a difference between 14 and 19.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's my guess. It seems like his stock is up. Teams like the fact that they think he might be able to stick at center. They obviously like the speed. He, I believe, if I remember correctly, and my head's kind of spinning with us, if I remember correctly, he had a good under 18s as well. So that caught the eyes of people as well. I like Jet Luchenko. He's another one of those guys where had the Flyers made the playoffs and got torched in the first round and they ended up picking like 17 or 18, he'd be a guy I'd very much be interested in, him and Michael Hage.
This next one, we're into the top 3 now, and listen, we have some tremendous competition for these final 3. It's going to be tough to beat this guy. 6'1" defenseman with dual citizenship in Russia and Switzerland. Elite prospects number 113th ranked skater. Daniil Ustinkov. This one is funny for a number of reasons. I want him on the Pens or Devils so bad. I want to yell, "You stink off" at this guy so much. It's also funny that it seems like the best zone of his game is the neutral zone, which makes sense. He's Swiss.
Yeah, they do like to be stay neutral.
Come on,
yeah.
You stink off.
You stink off.
Yelling that at dudes is so much fun. And he can yell his name at the goalie when he scores on him. Like, it's also a great taunt. It reminds me of when Tom Sestito had that 2-goal game, and Briz was like, "Oh yeah, he's a sniper now. He's Sestitov." That's
good.
You just add that. You just add the "kov" to the end, the "av" to the end of "you stink." Boom.
So here's my master plan here in the mid rounds. So you draft Daniil Ustinkov, who's a right shooting or a left shooting defenseman, and you pair him with the right shot Dominic Badinka. Ustinkov and Badinka.
Badinka was an absolute honorary mention on this list. Didn't quite make it. Had to fit in somewhere.
One guy's bad, one guy stinks.
Yes.
It's the perfect pair.
Bad and stink. They are a perfect combination. This number 2 coming up now. You all know I love this name. He's one of the players I hope this team drafts. Ava told me not to call him this, but when I hear the name Carter Yakemchuk, I think sexy lumberjack.
Sexy lumberjack.
Like, who's the dude? He like hosted the awards a couple years ago. He was on like True Blood and all those shows.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
The
But
big
I don't know
burly guy who everyone thinks is sexy.
Yeah, I forget his name.
I picture him in a flannel, and that's Carter Yakemchuk.
That's Carter Yakemchuk.
Yes.
Okay. I'm envisioning Carter Yakemchuk, and this is I know what Carter Yakemchuk looks like, but he doesn't look anything like this guy. But I'm envisioning, and maybe I shouldn't bring this up because they are a competitor of Coors Light. Like chill, but the guy in the Busch beer commercials.
Oh yes,
yeah, like that's what I'm envisioning Carter Yakemchuk.
That's Carter Yak, absolutely.
Yep. Just like completely ripped and with the super deep voice. Like it's Yakemchuk. It's such a great hockey name. It rolls off the tongue. It almost sounds like when you say it, it sounds like he's crushing someone into the boards.
Yes,
it's great.
No, I can just Yakemchuk. Like just stapling someone to the boards. Yeah. It's why I want him, honestly. The high-end offensive upside is secondary.
It's an added bonus, actually.
It's secondary. When you told me he's big and physical and takes a lot of dumb penalties, yup, that's what I want. That's what I want.
Straight to your heart.
And now we get to number 1. I only wish he was a defenseman so we could partner him with Eric Berger. There's just no beating John Mustard.
Can't beat John Mustard,
fucking
man.
hilarious.
It's so good.
John Mustard. Like the ultimate like nondescript first name and then Mustard. It's maybe the simplest name on the list, and that's what makes it so perfect. John Mustard comes in at number 1
for hockey because the puns about him having so much mustard on that shot.
So much mustard on it.
Like it's just they'll never get old.
Yeah, man.
And the great thing is just like Jet Lushenko. Like Jet Lushenko, great first name and he's fast. John Mustard, great last name and he's a goal scorer.
Hell of a shot.
If he hits, he's going to score a ton of goals, which will give us so many opportunities to talk about how much mustard he had on the shot.
So like coming up with like freaking what's the yellow one? Hellman's? No, what's yellow mustard?
French's?
French's. You do the deli mustard, Grey Poupon. There's just so many things that you can, just so many shirt ideas with John Mustard. But this is the top 15 Bill's big board of draft names for F Around Friday. We go Max Swanson, Vincent Desjardins, Keats Fawcett, Reese Peterson, Zeev Bouillon, Eric Berger. That's what we're going to call him here. Concrete Camille Bednarik, Parker Von Richter, Colin Ralph, Vigo the Carpathian Gustafson, Konsta Helenius, Jet Luchenko, Daniil Ustinkov, Carter Yakemchuk, and John Mustard. This are to me, the 15 best names in this draft.
Yeah, they're all real good. Trying to think of what other ones I think are also very good. I think Zane Parekh, another one of those like legitimately cool hockey names. That's a cool one. I would put.
It was an honorable mention. Definitely was on my initial list.
I like Beckett Seneca too. I think that's a cool name. It snaps when you say it. It just has that like, oh yeah, he's cool. So dig that one. I'm always gonna be partial to the double letter ones. You know, same letter starting the first name and the last name. So you got, you know, a guy like Ryder Ritchie, EJ Emery. Those are cool,
Ryder Ritchie,
good hockey names.
Ryder Ritchie was like in the class with Parker von Richter. And I was like, these are just like hockey names. Like like Ryder Ritchie, my line was just going to be like, he has no other options. He was destined to play hockey, and this is it. Like his parents named him. The only thing close to Ryder Ritchie I can think of is, it's funny because he ended up being a football player, and I can only imagine how disappointed his parents were. Easton Stick. Like they named him after fucking equipment, and he ended up playing football. Got drafted, and I bet his parents were like, "We're a little disappointed you didn't play hockey, son."
Yeah,
but yeah, Ryder Ritchie was definitely up there.
And Henry Muse is a good name.
Muse
just
for that was the one RG Tree Ryan Gilbert said I should have on the list, and I wanted to do it for Jason Muse. We could have all the Jay and Silent Bob jokes. He just didn't quite make my top 15.
Yeah, that might be it for me. I also personally, I just think it's such a unique name. I dig Mikkel Brandseg Nygaard.
Honestly, if I had a better chance of pronouncing that one, it could have made it.
Yeah.
I love a hyphen.
Love a hyphen name.
I want to see. I mean, I guess with Fanatics taking over the jerseys, they'll be able to fit it on the back, no problem.
This is true.
But I want to see them fit that on the back of a jersey with like a normal font.
Yeah,
like it'll have to be all like the size of the E in Leclerc. Like that's what it would have to be across the whole jersey.
But yeah, I think that might be it for ones.
Not as many
really
funny
like.
ones as I thought.
Miguel Marcus is another Ryder Ritchie type double letter name, which is solid. And then like, I mean,
just a hockey player named Miguel Marquez is pretty
honestly,
cool.
Like I know we kind of forget about it because, and I've said this before on the show, because he's just like, he's not new to us. We know him. Macklin Celebrini is a great name.
It's fucking great.
It's a great freaking name.
He wins a cup or something, the Celebrini is on. Like, there's so much you can do with that.
It's a really cool name.
Yeah, like they're Celebriniing in San Jose right now.
Hell yeah.
They have been since the lottery.
Since the lottery, exactly. Like I feel like we don't. If Celebrini if he was a 4th round prospect that no one heard of, he probably makes this list because like, man, that's a cool name. Instead, because we've been hearing about him for 4 years, like we're kind of used to it. But it is objectively a really cool name.
Yeah, like Connor Bedard. That's very much
it's pretty nondescript.
That's a slap together two names in like NHL.
It's nondescript.
Like Macklin Celebrini. That's something. Like that's a really good one. But that's the top 15. I see we have a super chat here. What do we have here? From my old Firebirds days, there's a player, Guido Tennessee. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Sure.
Okay. Kelly just with the okay. All right. So that's the top 15 here. Just a couple minutes left here on F Around Friday. And Charlie, I found something very funny on The Athletic I wanted to close the show with.
Okay.
They ranked each team based on current center quality. The quality of the center position at the NHL level. Mm-hmm. The Flyers somehow did not finish 32nd. They were ranked 27th in The Athletic, ahead of the Bruins, I almost said Utah Jazz, but Utah team, the Sharks, the Blue Jackets, and the Ducks. I think it's very funny that the Ducks are last and we're looking to acquire one of their centers.
Yeah, but the thing is though, like,
but it's based on like right now and not 3 years
because
from now.
I would much rather have the Utah hockey team and the Anaheim Ducks center situation than the Flyers center situation, because you look at Utah, they've got Logan Cooley. I mean, they have guys.
Yeah.
And then you look at Anaheim, they have Leo Carlson.
And Mason McTavish.
And I guess maybe Cutter Gauthier if you think he's a center.
Nah.
Just saying.
Goal scoring
and
winger.
Zegras right now.
And Trevor Zegras at the current time.
Yeah, I mean, they might not be on the team come September, but right now they have him.
When he wasn't even included, I was like, oh, but there are people who don't think he's like a center. But the Flyers one is like, they have some okay depth, and they list like Noah Cates and Scott Lawton. So it was like,
they have a lot of guys who can play center.
Yeah.
Are they actually centers?
Well, no.
Like, I think Lawton and Cates are both better on the wing.
They are wingers who know how to take face-offs.
Paling's a center. It's just I don't think he's anything more than a really good fourth line center.
Nice force save.
Really good fourth line center.
Happy with him in that role. But between like, you know, there are two lines that need to be filled, and it's the top two.
Yeah.
I guess like Morgan Frost is a 2C.
I mean,
I don't know.
And honestly, they are pretty they're pretty generous because they view both of Sean Couturier and Morgan Frost as second line centers. I don't know if most Flyers fans would agree with that.
And having the Bruins, I know we look at the Bruins center depth and go like, it's not as if they didn't perform. Like, we just don't think particularly highly of those players.
True.
But they did have a damn good season.
My bias is that it's the wingers and the defensemen.
Sure.
And then obviously the goalies make everybody look better. But that the centers are being carried the same way that Vegas used to do it before they got Eichel. Where it was like, oh, yeah, Chandler Stevenson is a 1C. Like, no, he's not. But I guess when you have Mark Stone next to him.
Mark Stone is, if he played center, would get Selke votes every year. Yeah. But since wingers aren't allowed to win the Selke, it's like, but it's like he basically he does the things center do, except he doesn't take faceoffs, which who gives a shit?
I do think that rating might be a little generous to the Flyers.
I thought so as well.
And I guess one of the things that the Flyers benefit from there is that it's not judging them on their prospects, because the Flyers have basically no center prospects.
Zero.
Yeah.
They have none.
Yeah, they have at least they have none who viably project as potential top six guys.
Yes.
They have some guys who could be fourth liners.
We
third
talked
liners,
about
maybe
McLaughlin and Knuble yesterday, and sure, but it just seems as if they are repeats of what we already have.
Correct.
Like, yeah, we have Paling and Lawton now. Yeah. We have Noah Cates.
Exactly.
Like, we have these dudes already, and our prospects are more of the same.
Which is why someone like Constance Hellenius or Barclay Goodrow, quite attractive as a possibility.
Charlie, before we get out of here, and remember our draft party.
Yes.
Friday, June 28th at South Philly Chickies and Pete's. Come on out. It's going to be at the Bookbinders Bar in the back of Chickies. It's always a great time.
Yeah, we'll have it up on the website in the next day or so, and then you can formally RSVP. But you don't have to RSVP. You can just show up.
Just show up.
We want a good crowd.
RSVP or don't. I know they like you to here. It's the same as the BSH draft party every year, though. Just show up, man. Yeah. It's going to be an awesome time. There's going to be pizza. There's going to be fries, drink specials. Kelly's got all the details. Make sure, Kelly will tell people about it. But the party is Friday, June 28th, 1 week from today at South Philly Chickies. Make sure you are with us. It's going to be a great time. But, Chuck, when I get here today, it's normally I go over to the couch. I start doing stuff. One by one, people just start coming over. So we trading into the top 10. We trading up.
People are getting excited.
The idea, like the quotes that came out from Danny yesterday, and when you look at the full context, he's like, we'll do anything, you know? Yeah. People are excited that maybe, even though they didn't tank, Flyers might have 2 top 12 picks. It's looking exciting.
2 top 12 picks?
We'll see.
I mean, I feel like the assumption with that Ottawa rumor is that they would trade up from 12 to 7, not that they would trade something for 7.
We'll see.
Okay.
They want roster players. What the fuck do they want with 12? Just saying.
Okay.
You're Scott Lawton, maybe a little extra. You want a Travis Sanheim? You don't have enough mid-tier.
He's got a no-trade clause built.
Just put him on waivers.
Oh, my God.
That's the way out of these things now. If they waived right now, Risto, would he get claimed?
That's an interesting question. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I think he might.
There's an appetite.
He might.
I would think if you have to give up nothing but cash to him just to claim, I think maybe you would. But also, I don't see an organization run by Keith Jones just waiving.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
Honestly, you could probably get something for him in a trade at some point. We'll see. All right, but that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Make sure you come to the draft party June 28th, South Philly Chickies, Friday, 1 week from today. It's going to be awesome. We're doing the live show. Kelly's going to be there. JP's going to be there. I would say Charlie's going to join us via remote, but there's no way to make that happen. That's going to be a shit show down at the Sphere. Charlie will be at the Sphere, but the rest of us will be down at South Philly Chickies. All right, that's all the time we have for you on FRA on Friday. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Is that a final super chat?
Yeah,
is that new?
Adam just wants them to put Atkinson on waivers and see. I don't think they'll do it.
Because they don't want to do that to
him. There's a lot of muitial respect
If the team was in a different spot.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay. Yeah. But they have respect for Cam Atkinson, and organizationally, they're not in a place to fuck with dudes, I think, especially after the Cutter Gauthier situation.
Fair point.
Personally, that's how I think.
Fair
but
point.
when they're good, be as cutthroat as possible, Danny. Game of Thrones shit here is what I want to see. All right. Make sure you're following us on YouTube. Never miss a live show. Hit that reminder. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. And follow the podcast wherever you get those. Search PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.